Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farmer, the podcast. This is your host, JC Young, and today's topic of discussion is this: until you cut the cord, healing will not begin. So we have obviously a lot of people coming into Legacy Farmer, guys, and we've had just, hundreds come in over the past 3 to 4 years, and everybody's dealing with their different problems and challenges. Some people come in and they have a lot of challenges on the personal side of things, right? Working with family on the farm operation or any type of ag business or any family business in general, really. It comes with its own complications and challenges. And when I first started Legacy Farmer back in 2019, that is primarily what I was helping people with. And then it's really evolved into all the entire business side of things and all these business tools and our software and helping our members track all of their numbers, simplify their financial decisions, know exactly where they're at on a day-to-day basis financially, and knowing how the banks look at their operations as well. It just kind of, we've built out this whole system around helping our members streamline and systemize their entire operations, right? And so ultimately, most of our members, they come in here because one, they got either problems on the personal side, again, working with family, or it's on the other side of things, right? They need help on the business side of things so that they can free up time because the business is obviously causing problems with their personal side. For example, working way too much because you don't have systems or processes in place. You don't know what your numbers are. So you're shooting from the hip emotionally, and that is causing you to have to work harder and harder and harder and sacrifice more and more and more time with your family, which is obviously something we don't want. Now, today's topic of discussion, guys, is around cutting the cord and how healing cannot begin until you actually do this. So we've had some members come in over the years where they are in a very bad family situation, guys. The environment and culture inside of their family operation is not good. It's not serving them, their lifestyle. It's not serving their wife or their kids or anything like that. And some of these guys have come in and they've had to work through the emotions of honestly leaving the family business, like going out and starting their own thing. And when I say that, it seems like it's easy to say. It's very, very, very difficult to do, because when you do that, growing up on the farm operation, we were all trained, taught, and conditioned that we, a lot of us, that we owed our life to the farm operation. That's what my granddad did to all of his kids. My dad never left Tribune, Kansas, because he felt that if he did, he'd be abandoning the family farm operation, right? And I tell people a lot of times, the way Yellowstone depicts farming and ranching and how they treat people, and like, you owe your life to this thing, and this family's relying on you, and your legacy is here, and you owe us. That's how it is in a lot of farms and ranches across the country. And so anyways, with a few of these members here, they came in and we started talking about those challenges and the problems and stuff that they're facing on the personal side of things and working with their family. And ultimately, I've gotten pretty good now to where I've had enough experience working with enough people to where I can tell, hey, when we need to cut the cord, right? We need to make a decision to leave the family business and all the promises, right, that we were told being there, and that one day it would all be ours, and blah, 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 right? It's the same old story over and over again. But I've gotten pretty good at understanding and knowing when, like, hey, it's time for you to make a move. It's time for you to let go of the family business. It's time for you to take a stand, and time for you to go live your own life and make your own decisions and be in control of your future. Because the reality is, you can come in here and you can pretend like, hey, I'm back working on the family business, but I control my future. Well, some of you might, most of you won't, though, because the reality is you work for the family operation, and whoever is in control of the assets actually controls the outcome and where you guys are going. And most people in this country today that are in their 30s and 40s that are back working on the family operation, they're back there working and sacrificing everything they could do in their life with the promise that, hey, one day this will all be yours. Well, I'm sorry, but you are risking a ton of your personal happiness and your marriage and your relationship with your wife and your kids and everything based on the promise of your parents that, hey, come back here, work for 50, 60, 70 grand a year, whatever that is. And we promise that one day you'll get this. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to make lifelong plans, 40 to 50 year plans based off of somebody's promise, especially if it's not in writing. It means nothing if it's not in writing. So anyways, that's what these members were doing. Now, we got to the point where these members were hitting their breaking point, and I straight up told them, I was like, hey, it's time to, man up, and you have to have these hard conversations, and you have to make a decision to leave the family operation or the family business and go build your own thing. Now, guys, I want you to understand, like, I've been through multiple members now who have had to do this, and when you're doing this, you are asking somebody to change their identity, right? And what do I mean by that? when I was growing up on our feed yard and everything, especially with me and my brother, our identity and my dad's as well was wrapped up in that feed yard, right? That's what I knew. That's what I assumed I was going to do the rest of my life, along with my brother and my dad as well, right? That was our identity. And all of a sudden you start telling somebody, hey, you need to change that. There's an internal war that starts to happen. And this war can last for years for some people, right? For a lot of our members, it'll last 1 to 2 years until they finally step fully into that new identity, the identity that stops putting up with the bullshit that they've been putting up with on the family operation for years, and the identity that finally takes a stand and goes and is responsible for 100% of the results that they produce inside of their life, right? The identity that gets to choose what they want to do the next day, not what mom or dad said you needed to do, or your uncle or whoever you're working with on the family operation. Now, like I said, when you're going through this transition, there's an old version of you that's dying, and that separation there is really difficult. Now, one specific situation that I'm going to share with you guys was on a relationship between a father and son. And this son recently decided here in the past 6 months that, hey, we're going to make some moves and we're going to do some things differently. Now, what's crazy is that there's been a ton of stuff that's happened inside of this family business over the past 10 years, right? A lot of hard feelings, a lot of resentment, a lot of just shit that happened that should not have happened, right? You look back and you're like, I can't even picture that happening. I can't believe that happening. When I think about our family operation, I can see the same things happening there as well, right? There were so many things. Just like, how could it even get to that point to where it's that bad? You know what I mean? So there's some old wounds there. And what's crazy is this member made the decision to start taking a stand for what he wanted for him, his life, his future, and more importantly, his family's future, right? And immediately after he made that decision, again, been battling with this for months, trying to get over the fact and just make that hard decision, because once we push this boulder over the edge, like, there's no stopping, right? There's going to be a commitment here. We have to continue moving forward. Now, what's interesting here is this guy and his father had not had the best relationship over the past 10 years just because of stuff in the family business, right? Same thing happened in my family, everything there as well. Now, what's interesting is once he pushed that boulder over the edge and he walked into his dad's office and said, hey, I'm done. Like, I'm leaving the family business. I'm going to go do my own thing, and hope you can support it, but I don't care either way. I'm committed to taking action here. What's transpired over the past, few weeks of making that decision is that the father has been finally awakened with the truth that has been slapping him in the face for the past 10 years, but now it just became real. And what do I mean by that? This guy's father has started to expose all the hard truths that he buried, right? All the things he should have done, all the thoughts he should have shared, all the truths, right? And this is painful, right? This is absolutely painful for a grown man who's in his 50s or 60s or whatever, however old he is, to admit to these faults, right? To admit to these truths. My granddad would never admit to those truths. He would never have done that, right? My dad has had to, right? And he has, right? Since our family operation went under, because it was forced him to look back at, 30 to 40 years of work and all the negative things that happen. It's like, man, I screwed up here and here and here and here and all that stuff, right? So it's forced him to face a lot of his demons from the past. And the same thing is actually happening with this member's father right now. Now, what's crazy though, is that I don't know how the member views this, but the way I view it is that their relationship is now on track to heal, right? To actually come together, because the father finally admitting all of these things that the son has been trying to get through to him for the past 10 years. The father admitting that is him finally taking the walls down, him finally exposing those truths. And, inside of that process, the healing is finally starting to happen. Okay. And that goes back to what's the topic of today's podcast. The healing will never start until you truly cut the cord. And that's the truth, right? You guys think about like a breakup in a marriage or any type of relationship you have there. As long as you have that cord attached and you're there, even though you don't want to be there, like there's still that discomfort, right? There's still the fighting, the arguing, and all this stuff. But once you officially cut that cord and you remove that person, you're like, I'm done. That is when the healing can start. And that's also when both sides tend to take their guards down. And it's like, take a deep breath. And it's like, okay, you know what? I did screw up here and everything there. So I share that with all of you guys today because it takes a lot of courage to push that boulder over the edge. It takes a lot of courage to go against everything you've come to believe in your life and what you thought your life was going to be, and this identity you built working with the family business for a lot of years. It takes a lot of courage to go away from all that. But again, though, you have to look at the pain that it could be causing in your life. And I'm not saying this is true for everybody. right? Some of you may have a great relationship with your dad or somebody you're working with on the farm operation. That's great. Good for you. And I'm really happy for you. But what we've experienced in Legacy Farmers, there is a lots of people out here that are in bad family situations that truly need to cut that cord, and they need help working through those stories and figuring out how to do that. And ultimately finding the courage to do that. And then it's just amazing, guys, because like I look at, my relationship with my dad or my brother's relationship with my dad and stuff like that. And it has gotten tremendously better since our feed yard went under. Just because now like the feed yard going under was that cord getting cut. Right. And now actually people could start healing, and there isn't that, anger and resentment anymore, or at least after a few years. And you start to heal. Right. And so that's why I'm really excited about this for this member to actually have a relationship with his father going forward in the future. Right. Anyways, I thought it was important to share this because I have personal experience with this, and I've seen several members go through this. There's been 2 of our members just in the past 3 months that have made these jumps. They have cut the cord, and one of them that made the jump 3 months ago or so, they are already at a better place with their father than they ever were in the past, from what I heard last, and that their relationship is healing. And it's nice to be able to go and have a conversation with your dad or have a cup of coffee and not talk about the farm, right? Not talk about work, just talk about life and kids and stuff like that. Guys, it does a lot there. I'm just telling you from my experience and then from watching these members go through it as well. So my friends, if you're in this similar situation, I hope you found this conversation valuable. I hope it gives you the courage to take some action that you need to, and ultimately get you to the point where you're living and leading a better life for yourself, your family, and your future. So my friends, that concludes today's episode, and we will catch you on the next one.
What's up, everyone? My name is Jace Young. I'm the founder of a company called Legacy Farmer, and inside of that company, what we do is we've helped over 300 family farms simplify and streamline the entire financial side of their operation and help them learn their numbers at a deep, deep level so that they can implement the systems and the processes to make sure that their operation lives on for generations into the future.